We're we're on Pei Dalet Amud Aleph. Going through the Brisa, really getting to the end of the Brisa, a list of all the things that we said. A bunch of them have a Chiyuv Misa B'dei Shemayim, some of them are only a Lav, and then we had at the end a Machlokes, right? We had a Machlokes about a Baal Mum. Baal Mum who does Avodah, Rabbi Yoimeh b'Misa v'Cham b'Mim b'Azhara. Meir says that it's also included with the group that gets Misa B'dei Shemayim. The Chum say it's only a Lav. My time of the Rabbi, where does Rabbi get that a Baal Mum who does Avodah is Mechuyev Misa? D'chsev Achal Paroiches Lo Yavai. It's talking about, if you look at the context of the pasuk, Achal Paroiches Lo Yavai Al Mizbeach Lo Yigash Ki Mumbai, because he has a mum v'Yichal Es Mikdashai, and it says he should be Mechal Mikdashai. B'Yalef Chilul Chilul Mitruma. The Gemara says so again, just like we had in many of the other Isurim, that we learn Chilul. That it says by Malmum, and it says Chilul by a person who eats, a kain who eats Truma when he's Tameh, Ma'alam b'Misa, Avkam b'Misa. Just like eating Truma, B'Tuma, the din is Misa, B'dei Shemayim, so too with the Balmum who does Avodah. In fact, the question that we've asked a few times before, V'neilav Chilul Chilul mi Neiser. Why do we choose to learn out from Truma? Let's learn out from Neiser. Ma'alam b'Karas, Avkam b'Karas. Instead of saying that you learn from Truma that it gets Misa B'dei Shemayim, let's say it should get Karas like someone who eats nicer, leftover kachim. So no, Truma is more likely. Shechein Psul Haguf. By Truma, the problem is the person is Tameh. Over here, the problem is that the person is Baal Mum. That's not similar to nicer. Mipsul Haguf, Mipsul Haguf. Mashin nicer, which is not a psul haguf, but rather it's a problem that the carbon was left over past the time when you're allowed to eat it. So Gemara, no, let's say the other way. The other Rabbi Minaisa have a levela shechein kodesh. First of all, it's kachim, right? Nicer is kachim that was left over. Baal Mum doing avodah in the Beis Hamikdash is also, he's doing an avodah of kachim. Truma is not kachim. So why are we comparing Baal Mum to Truma? Let's compare rather to nicer. And also Pnim, it's done in the Beis Hamikdash, which Truma is not. And Pigel v'Nicer, and it also has the dinim of Pigel v'Nicer apply. Nicer obviously is nicer, but the dinim of Pigel, that if you have a machshavas chutz lezmanei, that passes it, that's not applicable by Truma, but it is applicable by Kachim. Ella. So therefore, the Gemara says we have just as much of a svara to learn out about Mum who does avodah from nicer as we do from Truma. So therefore, we don't know whether it should get nicer's karas or it should get Chiyuv Misa B'dei Shemayim like Truma. So we learn out from a different verse. We will learn out from a Tameh who did Avodah. We're going to learn about Mum did Avodah from a Tameh that did Avodah, which we already learned out before. And then will be Gomer P'sul Haguf, Kodesh. And it also has the milas that it's Kodesh and Pnim and Pigel v'Nicer. Kodesh, Pnim, Pigel v'Nicer. So in this case, they both line up very, very well. Baal Mum has all of the milas, all of the same characteristics as a Tomei, someone who's Tomei who did the Avodah. So we certainly will learn out, just like a Tomei we learned before has a din of Misa B'dei Shemayim. So too with a Baal Mum. Rabbanon. What about the Rabbanon or Chaylik? And they say there's no din misa. They say it's only a lav. Amar Kra boy b'loy b'balmum. The pasuk says by B'shamus mishpat v'leisul of chet u'meisu boy ki yechalu ani Hashem mekadeshchem. So you want to learn out from Tamei Shekidish. It says boy. It says a lashon of boy. So boy is a miyat, and it says it only applies there, but not by Baal Mum as well. So Baal Mum will only be a lav. So now we move on to the next machlekes that we had in the Brisa. Hizid b'meila. If someone did meila b'mezid, what's the einish? Rabbi Yoimeh b'misa. Rabbi says he gets misa b'dei Shemayim. V'chad b'mim b'azhara, the same shitas as we had by Baal Mum, will also the same shitas by Hizid b'mila, where someone did mila on purpose. My time in the Rebbe. Where does Rebbe get that it should get Misa B'dei Shamayim? Amar Avo, Gomer Chita Chita Mitruma. We learn it out from Chit with a Gzeir Shava of Truma. Chet, really. It says, Nefesh ki simol mal v'chata b'shkaga, and it says, by Truma v'atu b'necha itcha tishmus kunasim chol davar mizbech l'veis v'rechaz v'atam avodas matana kunasim v'hazar. No, that's the wrong one. The other one is where's the pasuk? Chet Gomer Chet. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to go back to Dal. That's by Truma. So Malam b'misa Avkam b'misa. Boy v'loy b'meila. Again, we have a pasuk that says boy by Truma. It says umesu boy. So that tells you to exclude meila. So therefore, it remains only with a lav. Now going all the way back to the Mishnah. We're done with the Brisa. Now the Gemara gets back to the Mishnah on Pei Aleph Amud Aleph, which had ended off. Zar Shashimish B'Kodesh. There's a machlekes in the Mishnah. A Zar who does avoid in the base of Mikdash. Rabbi Kiva Mebechanek Chamam Bidei Shemayim. The Rabbi Kiva says they get a misa of bezdin of chanek, and the Chum say they get misa b'dei shamayim.
Yo, it's interesting. The last two Gemaras that we don't ask the next question. Normally in a Gemara, you would think that Amar Krav Bay, you would ask now, Rebbe, what do they do with the word Bay? What's it going to exclude?
Right. No, that's not Rashi's pshat. No, I don't remember seeing it in Taisus, but you're right. Maybe it sounds. Boy seems like the kind of thing that you know what the answer would be. Is that
darshan, but right?
Yeah, right. Zar sheshimish b'mikdash, Tanya. So we saw the machlekes Rabbi Kiva and the Chachamim about whether it's chenek or whether it is misa b'dei shamayim. Right? Rabbi Kiva says chanek, and Chachamim say misa b'dei shamayim. Tanya, Rabbi Shmuel Ayman, Nema Kan v'Hazar Akarav Yumas. This is talking about a Zar that did Avodah. So it says that he gets misa. But Nema Alon, that's Nema Alon Kol Akarav Hakrav El Mishkan Hashem Yamos. It says misa by the Zar, but the question is that a misa b'dei shamayim or misa's bezin? So we're saying Rabbi Shmuel says we make a hekesh. It says by after the Chet of Kairach, the Yidden was scared to come to the Mishkan because they saw that the Adas Kairach got killed by the Rebbeinu Shalom. They said maybe if we're going to go to the Mishkan, we're also going to die the same way they did. So the Gemara says, "Mal Allah b'dei shamayim, afkan b'dei shamayim." So since there's a hekesh of yumas, so I might say is that that would lead me to believe we're not talking about a misas bezin because they were scared they're going to die the way they did it by Adas Kairach. Adas Kairach was not misa b'dei by bezin; it was misa b'dei shamayim. B'kiva I'm a nemer kan v'hazara karav yumas v'nemer alon. It says by a Navi Sheker, it says Yumas. And by that, Malalom Beskila, Avkam Beskila. A Navi Sheker is Beskila. So too, a Dzar that brings a carbon is going to be Beskila. Rabbi Yochanan ben Uri Omer, Malalom Bechanek, Avkam Bechanek. Yochanan ben Uri says it's Bechanek as opposed to he says he says the reason it's going to get chanek, it's not going to get skila. When Gemara is going later on going to ask Rabbi Kiva in the Mishnah didn't say skila, he said chanek. But my comment is we're going to explain what this machlokes is. Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Kiva. What's machlokes between Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Kiva? That Rabbi Shmuel says it's misa b'dei shamayim from Kairach. Rabbi Kiva says no, we're going to learn out from a Navi Sheker that it's beskila. Rabbi Kiva Sava done in yumas miyumas, ain't done in yumas miyimois. The lashon by Kairach was a different lashon. It wasn't a lashon yumas; it was yimois. So therefore, I'm not going to learn it out from. I'm not going to learn out like Rabbi Yishmael, who did from Kairach. Yishmael Sava done hedget mi hedve done hedget mi navi. He says I'd rather learn out, even though it's a slightly different lashon in the pasuk. I'd still rather learn out from the Adas Kairach, which was regular people, as opposed to learning from a Zar who does Avaida from a Navi Sheker. A Navi is a different classification. That's a Navi. How could you learn out a regular person from a Navi? Rabbi Kiva has a very good question at Kivan Shehidiach Ein L'cha Hedget Gadol Mizeh. He says once he's a Navi Sheker, he's no longer a Navi. He's nothing special. So there's no reason why he's not any better than a common person. He's worse, actually. Then in the second machlekes, so between my Kamifga and Rabbi Kiva and Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, Rabbi Kiva had said it's Beskila, and Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri said it's Bechanek. Look to Rav Shimon Rabbanan, the Tanya, Navi Shehidiach Beskila, Rav Shimon I'm a Bechanek. It's dependent on the machlekes of what the einish of a Navi Sheker is. So the Tanakama says it's Beskila. So Rabbi Kiva is saying like that Tanakama, and therefore he says you learn out from a Navi Sheker that's Beskila. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri holds like Rav Shimon that says it's Bechanek, and therefore he says it will also be Bechanek. Practically Gemara, Vanan Rabbi Kiva I'm Bechanek. Our Mishnah had said Rabbi Kiva was a man who says Bechanek, and we're bringing this brisa, and this brisa says b'shem Rabbi Kiva that it's Beskila. Treitana aliba de Rabbi Kiva. My sister Rabbi Shimon aliba de Rabbi Kiva. Brisa Rabban aliba de Rabbi Kiva. It's not clear who Rabbi Kiva was saying. Like was he saying like the Rabban or Rabbi Shimon in the machlekes about what the einish for a Navi Sheker is? So therefore, that's why we have two different versions between the Mishnah and the brisa. Hadanoch elu hein hanisrafen. I think we could stop here and we'll start the Mishnah tomorrow so everyone starts together.
Fresh. Have a good night. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
so much.
Thank you.